So I'm just going to do a little breakdown before I make a prediction on this series. I feel this matchup could be possibly the best first round matchup, but that really hinges on Paul George being healthy. From what I've heard, Paul George won't be available until game 4 of the series. So that can definitely tip the scales of how the series turns out. But I like to do a breakdown first, and I'm just gonna do a breakdown of the Clippers first. So the Clippers are 18th in scoring in the league, and they're 12th in defense. That's their ranking. So it's kind of like they're middle of the pack when you think of overall ranking. I would say if you combine those two, they would be just in the middle. Could they have been a lot better this year? I definitely think so. If Kawhi didn't do his load management stuff and played more games than what he did. He only played 50 games. So let's say if he played 15 more games, I think they have at least 7 or 8 more wins on their plate. So their record is a lot better than what it is right now. I think their record was 44 wins. So they definitely would have been a much better team if he played more games. Paul George was also out, but I don't think he was doing load management. More so, he had legit injuries. He only played 56 games this year, so he missed 26. So those guys could have just played around even, I would say, just like 65 to 70 games. They would have won a lot more games for sure. I think they probably would have been a 55 win team on paper if those guys had just played 10 or 12 more games. So that makes a huge difference. And I just look at the depth the Clippers have. It's they're a pretty deep team. From what I'm seeing right here, I'm just counting how many guys they have averaging double figures. That's one, that's two, that's three, that's four, that's five, that's six, that's seven. So they have 8 guys total who are averaging double figures per game. So that's pretty impressive. Not many guys have that many guys that can score 10 points or greater per game, even in this high scoring league. So they have just a ton of depth. They're a very deep team. I can see why a lot of people picked them to win it all prior to the season started, but no one factored in just Kawhi's load management and PG's injuries that would play a role in them not winning that many games as they should as a title contender. So that's their breakdown. Let's go to the Phoenix Suns. The Suns are ranked 14th in offense. And actually, no, I'm wrong. They're ranked 17th in offense at 113.6 points per game, which, to be honest, that's pretty much on par with most of the league. If we're being truthful, that's still pretty high. I think teams like 10 through 17 average that much. There's not much of a difference in variance. So they're middle of the pack surprisingly, but I don't think that factors in just how much of an impact Kevin Durant will have on that side of the coin, as they would say. Defensively, they rank number 6, which I actually really like. I feel to be a championship team, you have to be ranked high in defense, more so than offense. You need to have enough offense where you can win. But to me, even in this offensive craze league, defense is still important. So I think that's a good indicator of whether or not the Suns can be contenders simply just by looking at their defensive ranking at number 6. That's pretty good. And the Suns, their 4 key guys are very obvious. Devin Booker, he's averaging 27.8 points per game on 49% shooting overall from the field. So he's been very efficient this year. His 3-point percentage has just been average, I would say, at 35, but he makes up with it with just a higher overall field goal percentage. Kevin Durant has put up god numbers since he's been with the Phoenix Suns. Granted, he's only played 8 games total with them, but in these 8 games, he's averaged 26 points on 57% shooting overall from the field. And from 3, he shot a ridiculous 53%. So he's been on God mode ever since putting on that jersey. Chris Paul, I'm looking at his numbers this year. For a guy who's as old as Chris is, his numbers have been very good. 13.9 points per game, 8.9 assists per game, and only 1.9 turnovers, which is not bad when you consider the assist-to-turnover ratio. His overall field goal percentage, though, has taken a hit, I feel, at 44%. I feel if you're below 45 for a perimeter player, then you're subpar when it comes to that stuff. But his 3-point percentage is above average at 37, I would say. So he's he's been decent when it comes to scoring this year, but his playmaking is still there. And he's getting 1.5 steals per game. At his old age, that's pretty good. Not many young players can get that many steals. So he's making an impact there. Let's go to DeAndre Ayton. Last but not least in my eyes, he's averaging 18 points a game and 10 rebounds, 1.7 assists. He's not really doing it on shot blocking or steals. He's averaging less than one in each category, but overall from the field, he's shooting 58%. Those are mainly from dunks, easy layups that he gets playing in the system. But he has some good hook shots. I've seen some good post moves. So he has a mix. His 3-point percentage is 29%. That's not good, obviously, but I don't think they expect him to take many 3-point shots anyway. So they're fine with him not shooting well from that range. But he's an important piece of their team. I would say more so on the defensive end because he's a defensive anchor. He's very good at switching and making rotations. Even though he's not a great shot blocker, his switching is incredible. So he's very important on that aspect of the court. Now, when it comes to who I think is going to win this series, I'm going to go with the Phoenix Suns. I just think they're healthy at the right time to win in the series. And I think the thing I hate the most about the series is just the uncertainty about Paul George's injury. So if he comes back early in the series, like by game 2 or game 3, but it really depends. If they're down, so if he comes back, yeah, this is so tough. As you can see right here, I'm just contemplating the situation. If PG comes back by game 3, and let's say they're down 2-0 and they win game 3, then I think the series could go to 7. Tongue twister right there. Could go to 7 games. Now, if he comes back by game 4, I don't think they're going to win the series. I think this series will end in 5 games. So it really hinges on PG how quickly he returns. But I think even if he returns, I think they'll lose in 7 if he returns early. Now, if he returns late, I think the Clippers lose in 5. I just think the Suns, even though the Clippers have a lot of depth, I don't think they can handle the Suns' firepower, Durant and Booker. I think those guys will end up being too much for them. And Ayton, to me, is the key in the series. I think he's head and shoulders above Zubac. He provides something that the Clippers lack. They don't have really a legit big man. I think he's gonna get a lot of easy opportunities in the series. So I just think the Clippers are just a hair short of beating this team, even if they're at full strength. I think the Suns just have enough combined with their star power to beat the Clippers in a 7-game series. But this will be interesting, I feel, but it also hinges on, like I said, on PG coming back. So that's all I have to say about this series. I am picking the Suns in 5 if PG comes back late in the series. The Suns in 7 if PG comes back early in the series. So either way, the Suns are going to win this series.